Okay, I think we're starting to figure this out. That was weird, but my battery essentially just died and I had to change the battery. I'm going to delete the other thing here. Delete forever. Permanently delete forever. Okay, cool. All right, so streams is back up. We are trying to make this more of like a one time a week sort of thing. And we're trying to get this going. So if you guys are new to the stream, I'm going to do these once a week. Don't really have a date for them, but this is all about how like YouTube changed my filmmaking career, basically. But let's let a couple more people pile in. We're probably going to be out for, I don't know, like an hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see. We'll see how things go. We'll see how it's doing. But let's let people kind of get into it. So. Isaac's in the building. Giovanni's in the building. First comment. I think we're going to let a couple more people kind of pile in before we get started with the live stream, I guess. Y'all let me know what you guys are doing, what you're working on. This is actually a really cool like format that I'm starting to get used to, which is jumping in every single week. The only thing that I have a problem with is I don't know how to schedule live streams. So I'll figure that out eventually, but at some point we'll get it going. And I'll delete a couple things here. Also, fun fact, I will probably do a live stream from Africa because I'm going in. Shit, when am I going? I'm going in like 3 weeks. So I'm going to give it a shot using the FX30. I think I'm going to bring this mic arm with me. Yeah, we're going to start doing a couple of different formats and content, stuff like that. Zach Mayfield, teach me how to make movies and monies. Bro, I'm like the epitome of like 50% freelance, like film industry, filmmaking stuff, and like 15% YouTube. So I'm not a good person to ask. Because like I will probably have a much slower trajectory than other people, which I'll get to later. But yeah, might not be the person who would ask. But if you need somebody to be on your crew for whenever you make monies and movies, let me know. What do you think about iPhone filmmaking? I think about it the same way as anything else. I think there's no wrong answer. And if you want to use an iPhone, use an iPhone. If you only have an iPhone, use an iPhone. If you have a reason to use an iPhone, use an iPhone. But using any tool just for the sake of using it makes kind of no sense. So I don't really have any heads or tail thoughts about it. Also, hang on. My day, Elario, Elario, Widiaro. I'm not even trying to pronounce it correctly. I got it wrong. My day's going well. Usually Wednesday, every other Wednesday, I have calls with my brand manager. We talk about a bunch of stuff, things I want to kind of do in the next coming weeks. We go over some of the data that like from the last couple of weeks, just because I post a lot, so it's easy to like look at if things are working or not working. So yeah, that call's exciting. Like I like live streaming because like I maybe have 3 hours before that happens. So I usually will live stream for like 2 hours, take a break, and then I'll do my call. And then I kind of go with the rest of the day. So Wednesdays are not filming, not editing, all about calls, live streams, and stuff like that. So good. So far, so good. Also, there's a piece of egg white I'm currently choking on. But on the bright side, I ate before the shoot. So how much more do you use the Red compared to your FX? I would say I use the Komodo X about a third of the time that I use my Sony cameras, mostly because like when I'm using my Sony cameras, it's like small, like you have more smaller projects than you do bigger projects, right? So I could, if I wanted to, I'm really sorry, guys. I could, if I wanted to, shoehorn the Komodo X into more gigs, but like I kind of don't feel like it, especially when I like want to be in and out of there. So I'll use it a little bit more. I'm thinking of getting a Sigma FP. Any thought? I haven't had any thoughts on the Sigma FP. So like I talk to Caleb Pike every now and again, and he was gonna let me borrow his so I could see what it's like because I've never used it before. But he hasn't let me borrow it just yet. So I mean, if you jump in the live stream, I sent you an email for my address. Can you send that to me? Because I want to use it. But it's nor here nor there. I'm just kidding. But I haven't actually thought about it. But I heard it's decent for the size. Here for Kofi Radio. Honestly, I wish Radio Free Roscoe wasn't a name that was already a trademark copyrighted name. If you guys are Canadian and you are old enough to remember that show was fire, actually. It had some of the best tracks that I think I've ever seen. Bro, one question. What is the best budget laptop I could use for? Yo, I would get a used MacBook M1 if you could find it, whether an Air or a Pro. It kind of doesn't matter to me, really, especially if you're like just starting and you have like no other options. Mostly just because buying used computers, like at least in my experience with Mac computers, I've never had a problem with them because generally, unless it's like a hardware failure, there's not a ton of things that have gone wrong with MacBooks, at least in my experience. And I worked in an Apple store for like 4 years. And outside of hardware, most things don't go wrong. But yeah, if your motherboard like fails, your motherboard fails. That happens. So did I answer? Oh, what does it drink? So I have a really bad habit with not drinking water. So what I do is I'll fill up like a gallon jug of water. I'll get till about here of like straight up just water. And then I'll fill the last little bit, which is usually the hardest part, with Mio. And Mio is just like a kind of like a flavored water thing. And that helps me get to a gallon of water every single day because I'm a pretty big dude. I drink a lot of water. And when I don't, I tend to make worse nutritional decisions when I'm dehydrated. So the easiest thing to do is like, the easiest thing to do is obviously don't do that. But I usually like drink water and it kind of helps with curbing hunger and stuff. When you're on a shoot, do you drink water? Yes, actually, I do. I generally will carry, not this guy, but I have like water bottles that I'll keep on me. The only part is that like if I'm working on set and there's like craft and they bring water bottles, I have to like stash away like 6 of them because I'll chug like 3 or 4 in one go, and then I'll have 2 left for the rest of the day. And I know that's a terrible thing. And I also I don't want to have to go run back and forth. So like I'll like if you see anybody that's bringing craft on set, I'll be the guy hoarding the water bottles and leaving them in places wherever I see fit. That is my toxic trait. I leave water bottles everywhere. But yeah, generally I like to drink water on there. And then if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to be an adult and hold it in. That part sucks, but hey, you know what? Like I'd rather be hydrated than not. I saw your last video on how to price. Great video. Oh, thank you. My question is, how did you find your fitness niche? I used to compete, and my uncle owned 3 magazines back when I was competing, and I like when I just came from playing college football. So like, I still had to be good, but like I kind of had an in if I was good enough. So like the idea was like just get good enough that you're in those positions, but then like the kind of I guess the politics of getting a certain gig is kind of out of the way. So that was pretty much it. And then I just kind of played within that field. Mind you, I will say the fitness niche is really cool. You get a lot of cool stuff. It doesn't pay the most. You will run into situations where like you can do the same job as like a DP or photographer, and a lot of times you might get paid elsewhere, but the content you make looks really cool, right? So because you're working with super jack people all the time, so that's always fun. But it comes with certain level of things you might lose out on. What made you want to start making content? I'm curious to see what got creative content starters. The thing with the creating content was kind of the idea that at some point in time that like the structure of like freelance video production, the structure of like filmmaking is going to change where there's this giant platform where people are making money and then also sharing information about it. And then also understanding that like you don't necessarily have to be the expert in anything. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Then like I could just talk about things from the perspective of like I'm telling you as it's happening, rather than I know everything. Listen to me. And then I kind of got the ball rolling. Also, I had worked with a ton of different YouTubers like in the past, like just as a freelancer, like filming their videos or editing and stuff like that. So over time, I realized I'm like, oh, there's not a gigantic difference between like myself and that person. They just got here before I did. So I started making videos, and now we're here. Also, what's your favorite part about making content? Lighting, gear, subject? I'm like a mix of everything. Like if I have a really cool lighting idea, I get really excited about that. I love testing lens sets. I think those are fun. Um, yeah, I like trying things. Like I think the hard part with YouTube is that obviously the audience doesn't get an opportunity to try like a red, a Venice, a bunch of FX cameras and all these lenses at the same time. Um, but I find like being a nerd who's curious, I'm like, oh, like I really want to try like this particular piece of gear and see if it like would work in like my everyday kind of workflow. I think that's kind of cool because you get the opportunity, honestly, to see what works and what doesn't, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people, given the chance, would love to have the ability to not just only buy things out of necessity, but buy things because they've like done primary research by like using it. Um, Leo's in the building. Leo hasn't missed a live stream, which is dope. What's your favorite TV show as a professional? I mean, like my favorite TV show, period, right now is Invincible. They finally brought it back, but the mid-season finale is over because they Robert Kirkman does the same thing in The Walking Dead as he's going to do in Invincible, I think, where he's going to have like mid-season finales, which will just extend the show a lot, but will get on my nerves. Um, Also, big fan of Jujutsu Kaisen. I watch a lot of anime, so if you guys think I'm going to tell you a show with great cinematography, I don't. I like anime. Um, Thoughts on going narrative, no budget. Have a way to make money. Um, because essentially when you are working no budget, what you will have for a while is you won't have revenue. And if you don't have revenue, it's really hard to dedicate your time to something that can't financially sustain itself. So maybe you want to have something in the background that's going to generate money. Like having YouTube actually is great. Question: what's your take on used cameras and lenses? I'm paranoid about quality without warranty. The Ryan, the risk you make with buying used cameras and lenses is always going to be there might be something wrong with it that's not disclosed to you. Your best case scenario is to check for things like what's it called, shutter count. You want to check your shutter count. You want to check if there's dust in the lens. If you're testing out a lens, you want to like stop it down to like f8, see if there's anything that's in there. You want to check the lens in the front and the back. You want to look for things like if there's mold in the lens, especially if it's a vintage lens, stuff like that. Just like it's like buying a used car or like a used pretty much anything else. There is always going to be that risk factor there, and obviously it's used and you're not going to have warranty, but that's also what you gain back and not having to pay the money. Like you can't have a great deal and the warranty at the same time. I think that's what the trade off is, right? If you end up liking Sigma FP, hold off on making a video until I get one, please. That's awesome. I'm seeing on getting one used for really cheap in comparison to its normal retail price. What other anime am I into aside from JJK Invincible? I'm currently caught up on the My Hero Academia manga. I'm gonna try One Piece. I got a flight to Ghana in 3 weeks, and it's like I think it's like 15 hours long or something. No, not 15. It's like 12 hours long. So I'm gonna try One Piece when I'm there. Mostly because that's the only time I'm gonna be able to sit down and actually watch it because I can't like in my normal everyday life. I can't. I'm a binge watcher. I can't commit to watching um an anime that has 1100 episodes and like just stop whenever I want to stop. Like I will watch an entire anime if I have the opportunity to. Like I watched all of Bleach Thousand Year Blood War in 2 days, which is actually embarrassing, but I did it. Do you mind sharing what YouTubers or film directors? I am a big fan. I'm a big Danny Givritz fan, and I think mostly because he's very transparent in the content he makes, and also he just makes really good stuff. Um, I haven't. Who else? I watch a lot of Patrick O'Sullivan. Like that's where I started to learn a little bit more about cinematography. That was really cool. Mark's a homie. So I'll watch a bunch of his stuff. We also have like common clients and stuff too. Um, I feel like I'm just naming everybody that like everybody knows or like everyone's heard of. Moji does an outstanding job. Right now he's killing the music industry right now, and he's growing quite a bit. I'm trying to think who else. Well, I'll come back to that one. I didn't come prepared with a list in mind, but definitely I'll come back on that. Yeah, buy used, you get a great deal. If things well kept. Yeah. If you buy used, sometimes you hit gold. Like I sell a ton of stuff used, and I don't have it for more than like a few years, and it's still kept in pretty good shape. And most people that have it are pretty okay with it. So, but you do run that risk. So, just bought a used Sony A7 IV and a used 20 1.8. So far, so good. switch from Canon. I also switched. I went from Sony to Canon to back again. From the Canon C70R5. Which editing software do you most like? I just been using DaVinci Resolve since 2019. That's all I've used. I don't really have like 4 editing softwares that I use, and then I pick my favorite one. I used CapCut for a while, like the desktop version, just because it had the auto captions and you could animate them, and that was pretty easy to do. But outside of that, like I don't really use anything else outside of DaVinci. You got plenty to watch with One Piece is way too long. It was like 1,180 episodes. It's a commitment. I don't know if because of my binge watching habits, I don't know if I can get into One Piece, because I know I will stop doing what I'm doing to watch more One Piece, which might screw me over. Oh, your camera new. Hey, hang on, Leo, come back. Leo, what'd you get? What'd you get? Leo, what'd you get? Or I'm gonna have to wait for the Instagram reel, but I want to know what you got. Like, I want you to come back in the chat and tell us what you got. Invincible, have you tested out the Panasonic S5 S5 II? Yes. Short answer, Carrie, yes. Long answer, no. I have the S5 II twice. Great camera. I like the 6K open gate, all that other stuff. The shooting modes is great. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't. It's a camera that like I know is nice, I know is good, but I'm still not compelled to care about it. And that's really weird for me to say it, but like it's not something that like has pulled me away from using any other Sony camera. I'm not a huge fan of the autofocus. I don't like the photos that much, but it's a cool camera. Like, I mean, if you're somebody that's looking to save a buck, Panasonic really gave away like the whole farm with building out the S5 II and the S5 IIX in terms of all the stuff that it has. It's just, I don't know. This is not for me. And I found myself grabbing my FX30 or something else almost every single time and not needing it, even if it was in my house from July until like a week and a half ago. And I honestly hardly used it. ZVE1 coming from A7 III. That's a good pickup if you're doing a lot more video. Favorite music to listen to? I'm a big Jacob Banks fan. I also just listen to a lot of like Kendrick and Cole and stuff like that too. So that's pretty much the 3 that I listen to the most. And like lo-fi stuff. That's just because like I need music for YouTube. Just bought my 3rd Helios 44-2 yesterday. I might have. Why do you have 3 Helios 44-2s? And they're all 58 millimeters. Isaac, I need answers. Have you used your Red Komodo to shoot some of your talking shots for YouTube videos? No. Mostly because I'm lazy. It's so easy to put. My FX30 already has the base plate that's on like the desk arm that's on my desk already. It is far easier for me to just put that on there and do nothing aside from putting on something that's a smaller ball head. It's not my biggest that's something I want to do. I've done clips with talking, like I've done talking head clips with the Red Komodo X, but it's not something that like I would do an entire YouTube video on. It'd be like an insert or anything like that at best. DaVinci Resolve gang don't have the money to subscribe to Adobe. Yeah, honestly, like the amount of money you'll spend on Adobe Premiere in a year, I think is enough to get DaVinci Resolve for life. Do you think making your prioritize money through paid work from others takes away from creativity passion, sort of like being a talented painter and being paid to draw stick figures constantly? It kind of depends. It depends on where your situation is, right? Like obviously being able to create and like do passion projects is great, but then also you have to understand that like you still need money to live, kind of thing. And it's hard to make either one. Like I'm not going to do spec projects and expect the same results as me doing client work, because that's not necessarily fair. Because sometimes what ends up happening is when you work on passion stuff and you want the same, like you need to do entrepreneurial things to get entrepreneurial results. And sometimes creative and passion projects are directly opposing each other. And you can't go in with the expectation to get results from work or the type of work that you didn't necessarily do. Obviously, that's going to have different limits and stuff for other people. Like sometimes you want to be able to work on passion projects, but at the same time, like you can work on those things, but if your phone bill is late, nothing you could like, something has to give, right? So for me personally, it doesn't necessarily take away from it too much, mostly because like I'm a little bit more stricter now than I was before in what I take on. Like I barely freelance anymore. Like a lot of the YouTube stuff is going well enough that I think in about 6 months, I could probably swing it full time and not take on any other client work at all. Um, so it kind of opens that door, but also like being patient with like doing all the client work and doing all the monetizable stuff, and then coming back coming back and being like, okay, like now I can do the passion projects. So I've accumulated enough of the business where it kind of sustains itself and it doesn't require too much of my time. New subscriber, enjoy your content. Glad I found you. I am on the Sony A6400, looking to get an FX30, 3F30, and a Fujifilm X-T3, both same class. Yeah, it is. You know what? If you're somebody that needs a multi-function camera, you may as well just get more than one. The only part that sucks is that you need to get lenses for both. So like maybe you might want to cop like an FX30 and like an A6700, keep the lens set the same, and then you don't have to worry about too many things. So you might want to consider that. I mean, the Fuji camera, like a lot of people love Fuji's colors and stuff. So far be it for me to tell you what you do with your money, but like if you want to keep it all in one lens set and not have to buy two different sets of lenses, you might want to consider that. Has going high top with your followers? No. So one thing that I think people, this is you guys are kind of asking the questions that are going to be answered kind of in the video, so I might not go through the whole diatribe, but lives are a way of connecting better with the audience. I find that I kind of already have, which is really great because what ends up happening is that I find the correlation between when I'm finished a live video and then like the retention on the videos I have after that go up, right? Because I think there's a sense of like some people are like, hey, like I've watched this guy on live. Like if I could sit here for 2.5 hours and listen to him, like I can do it for 8 minutes. Also, I think just because there's kind of a sense of like you're a little bit more familiar now, so it's easier to kind of sit through videos and stuff like that. So that kind of helps in terms of retaining the clients you do have. Technically, if people decide they want to send super chats, like it's a little bit more, there's more, I guess, monetization per capita in that regard, because if someone sends like $20, that $20 is about the equivalent, I think, as me getting like a few thousand views. And I mean, that's just someone sending something and sending something really quickly, right? And that doesn't, and one obviously doesn't take as much time. Holy crap, there's a lot of questions here. Also, if this camera battery dies, I am just going to run it back and go again because I'm not sure if it is going to die or not. It says it's dying, but it also says it's plugged in. So I'm sorry if that happens. I use the Lumens 5 S5 2X for my vlogs. Works great for budget camera, especially for, yeah, it does. It's a great YouTube camera. Also, one thing that I failed to mention is I don't have a mic. I didn't have a microphone for the S5 II. I had to use a Hollyland lav mic because the mics that I do have are for my Sony camera. I think Sony's color is better than red colors. Great movie review. You could just color grade stuff if you want to make one's colors better than the other. And generally speaking, if you're at the point where you're using a red camera, you're probably color grading. So it's like it's a toss up. It's nor here nor there, to be honest with you. I'm actually looking to make some films on the Nikon D750 until I get a mirrorless. Your videos are quite informative, inspiring. Keep at it, bro. Thank you so much. Nikon D750. I haven't heard that camera name in a while, so good luck and have fun with that because it'll probably be a lot of fun. Is there any way to start making money as soon as you buy an FX30 without prior clients and not monetized on YouTube? Rob a bank. Got it like 4 months ago. Realistically, if you want to convince anybody, whether it be a social media platform or a client, to give you money, you have to give them some sort of value. So you have to figure out what way you're going to give people value. There's no way. No one's going to just knock on your door and hand you some money and say, hey, you have an FX30, like, let me give you a bunch of money. You got to do something for them. And if they're unsure if you can do that something, then you have to do like spec work and do it that way. All things I think I made videos on, which is kind of nice or kind of cool. Oh, I got a super chat from Tio. Tio taught me know how to pronounce that, so I get that right. A74 or ZVE1. I want to learn making beautiful videos. What should I get? Both of which are you're going to be happy with. I think if you don't care about making photos and you want more of the AI features for video, then get the ZVE1. Both are going to be full frame sensors. They're both going to use the same lens sets. They're both going to do 4K. 10-bit at S-Log3. They're both going to have very similar video features. The ZVE1 has slow motion features in full frame. and it's a little bit small. It's a bit of a different thing. If you don't care about photos much, then the CVE1 is going to give you a little bit more options. If you want to take photos, then use the A7 IV. Thank you for the super chat. Looking to cinema out one of my Helios lenses if I can myself. Check out Iron Glass. I just got the Iron Glass set of the cinemated lenses, and I have the 44 2 58 millimeter, and it's really really nice. And you can mod it to I modded it to get like it has a warmer tint and it also has orange flaring, so it's really cool. Are you Canadian or am I just stupid? No, I am Canadian. I live in Toronto, just like everybody else on YouTube apparently. But yes, no, I'm from Canada. Hey man, I love your work. Will you make a video about color grading? And as I have 5 videos on color grading already, particularly in DaVinci Resolve because that's what I use. So there's a bunch there. There's like 5 of them. Great advice. Thank you. No problem. Have you dabbled in wedding filmmaking? Yes, I have. I actually did my last wedding in September. I will likely not do them again. They're fine. It's a great way to make money, especially if you're starting out. It's just like it's not for me, especially in the combination of other things that I have to do. It's not a thing that's for me. Any medium high concept short films or feature film projects in the pipeline? There is one that I was a key grip on, not key grip on that we actually did through the agency Crater, which is Armando Ferreira's and Mendy Paul's new agency. It should be coming out soon. I think it's coming out in like a month, not even. We have a gigantic BTS event. There's like a bunch of embargo videos that dropped on there. The way that set actually functioned, which we'll talk about in the video, is very, very, very unique and interesting, and bridges a gap between like the traditional filmmaking industry and YouTube. But that's all going to be a video that comes out. I don't think I'm allowed to put out much until December the 28th. So whenever that film comes out is what we're going to be doing for that. What was your scariest filming location? I don't think I have a scariest one, but I have one I like the least, and that was the one I just worked on when we were in the California desert, because I realized that deserts are cold at night, and being from Canada, we don't have deserts, and I just assumed desert means hot, and that means desert means hot all of the time. It doesn't, and it was colder there at night than it was here, so that sucked. Yes, Lockley. Oh, thank you. I am using it. No, I'm not using it right now. Sometimes when I live stream, I'll like throw a LUT on my camera, but I like it. It took me a little while to make it. I've made a couple variations of it. I only made like 5 because I don't think you need a ton. And so far they've been really good. I was thinking of moving there for filming purposes. How's work there? Work is gonna be as hard as you're gonna work for it, man. Like it would be disingenuous for me to say that there's so much work coming out of the yin yang that you can just walk in and start working right away. But then at the same time, if you are in spaces where you are around a network of people that is constantly working, and then you're also providing value to the people that you're constantly working, that whole thing is about perceiving a value. It is the largest city in Canada. It is the largest, it is the highest populated city. So I mean, like in terms of Canada, if you're going to move somewhere, your potential to work objectively, because there's numbers there, would be in Toronto or in Vancouver, BC. But yeah, I wouldn't feel right being like, oh, there's way more work out here. And I also don't know where you're coming from, so it'd be kind of tough to give you heads or tails. But if you want to start working, you have that capacity, you can. Have you tried Baselight for color grading? I have not. I actually don't know what Baselight is, so that might be something obvious. Like if you think I have everything figured out, you are confused. But I don't know what Baselight is, to be honest with you. How can you get into shooting weddings if you don't have any work to show? Spec project and stage it? No, just offer to second or third shoot with someone who's already shooting weddings. And then just kind of be very transparent in terms of like what you want out of it. Yeah, just be very concerned. Like, just be like, hey, like this is what I kind of want to get out of the experience. I'm willing to offer extra coverage, or like I can give you the photos, whatever. But like this is what I need in order for me to kind of start shooting weddings on my own. Generally, that's how you would do it. And then you like, people may say no, people might say yes, but essentially that's how you kind of put yourself in there. Or you shoot a friend's wedding for free, which is risky, but some people do it. Do you think the Sony A7 Mark III is still a good filmmaking camera? What would make you believe that it is not? There are cameras that have more features in it, but it doesn't, like a camera coming out doesn't mean a camera before it is bad, if that makes any sense, right? Like if the A7 III was good when the A7 III came out, awesome. The A7 III does the exact same thing it does at the day that it came out, or not the day it came out, but the day before the new thing came out as it did after. So if you liked it then, well, then you're gonna like it now. So to that point, yes, like is the A7 is there are are Honda Civics in 2012 not good cars because 2020 Teslas exist? No, they both still drive places. But the A7 III has cameras that have come after it, but doesn't necessarily make the A7 III a bad camera. Everyone's throw Kofi. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, throw a like in here because yeah, I don't know. Throw a like in here. I don't know. Isaac said so. If you guys like it, that's great. You guys want to send a like? You guys want to send a comment? You guys want to, run your boy a super chat? I'm joking when I say that. I'm not begging you for money. Then run it up. But yeah, thank you for that. General thoughts on CinemaScope, CinemaScope versus 16:9. I'm obsessed with the look and want to get Series Saturns or Lauer Nanomorphs in the future, but not a lot of content creators use that aspect ratio. Fo, I will tell you one thing very importantly. Don't base your filmmaking decisions based on what other content creators are doing because you'll drive yourself insane. And also, it's hard to base your stuff off of them if like you don't know those people. I think what I like about CinemaScope is the idea that because it's longer. If it things in the top and bottom of your frame, you can kind of hide that away in terms of like your anamorphic D squeeze. In terms of using the Saturns and the nanomorphs, they're very similar to each other. I think the one big gripe I had about the Saturns, they fixed because my one big gripe was there was only one 35 millimeter, and they dropped a 50 and a 75, which I'm still heads or tails if I'll get or not. But yeah, I think if you want to shoot it that way, especially in platforms that like have 16:9 video or landscape video, I guess you want to call it. Either one's great, man. I think you'll like it either way. Like it's a different look, but it also depends on what you want to use it for. Like if you want to shoot your talking head videos in anamorphic, it might be a little bit like some people might think it's overkill. But also if you like it, far be it for me to tell you otherwise. So give it a shot. Honestly, if you have the budget for it, or if you could rent anamorphic lenses, I would say my biggest thing for most things is if you have the ability to try it out, see if you like it, and go from there. Love the wedding idea. Thank you. Yeah, no, like that's spec project. Like most of the time when you want to get client work, you have to give something up for free if you don't have a way to show it. It's just finding like it might slightly differ in terms of ways of how you do it. Some people shoot spec projects, some people shoot free work, some people will work with other people that are more successful in the same space. Like there's so many different ways to do it, but like you can do a ton. Do you think anyone can beat the FX30 in low lighting in that range? I maybe. My first recommendation is light your sets, then you don't have to worry about your ISO performance most of the time. Sony does a decent job with having cameras that are good with higher ISO, so like possibly, but it's one of those things where like I truthfully am not about to test every single camera to try to find out, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't know. How's the Komodo fan noise compared to Sony mirrorless? If it's any consolation, Mr. B, I've never noticed either. Like I've never consciously been like, oh shoot, that's super loud. So like honestly, I haven't noticed either one. What anamorphic lens would you buy for the FX30 that doesn't break the bank for someone that works a very low paying 9 to 5? Dominic, I wouldn't buy an anamorphic lens if you have a low paying job and you're looking to buy only one anamorphic lens, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I would save your money until you can get something you could be a bit farther into the ballpark, unless you need an anamorphic lens, which I would be curious to hear like what would be the situation where you would need an anamorphic lens. Yeah, one thing I'm not a big encourager of spending money on things that you might not need, especially like when you're in the beginnings. The idea for a lot of those gear videos, as you like, at least like as I put them out, is like when you do get to that place, like now you know what happens now, not necessarily you should stop what you're doing and buy it. So I recommend none if you're looking to not put yourself in financial harm. Hi, Kofi-san. Adrian, I'm going to tell you something. My freelance life might be changing a little bit. I'm actually taking on less client work, doing more YouTube. So if you need any help, my friend, let me know, because people don't know, Adrian lives like down the street from me. But yeah, if you guys need any help with anything, let me know. You want someone to operate, you want someone to do some fancy G&E, I can give that a shot and see how it goes. But yeah, let me know. I've never extended that olive branch. So also good seeing you in the live stream. The FX30 is a beast. Honestly, pretty good in low light for some stuff. Seattle. Yo, I'm taking it with me to Ghana. What's like I have to I'm taking the FX3 with me as well. But it's so weird because now that I'm traveling, I'm going for about a month. Like I want to try all of the questions of things that I had that I don't have time to make videos for, but I just want to like give out a shot. But I'm gonna try a low light shoot on the FX30 while I'm in Accra, like the first couple nights that I'm there, and see how it does. But like I don't know, man. I don't necessarily need it. My uncontrolled low light footage to be like super crisp and clean. I just need it to like not look like absolute dog crap. So, which is really something that I want to be after. If Jujutsu Kaisen characters were cameras, what would they be? Gojo, Itadori, and Fushiguro. Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay, if I'm going to Satoru Gojo has to be a hybrid camera because you can use red and you could use blue and you could use purple. So in terms of like, he would have to be like a Sony A1, because he can do both. Itadori would have to be because he didn't have a domain expansion for the longest time, and he straight up just threw hands. And I would be like, he's like, I'm gonna say Itadori is gonna be the original Red Komodo, just because like the rolling shutter kind of goes with his fighting style. Like doesn't have a lot of jello or anything in his movements and whatever, and he like straight up man threw hands for like most of the series. Fushiguro has to be the Fuji X100V because the same way that he uses 10 shadows is the same way that like you could use recipes because he could like, spoiler alert, like he could kind of like combine some of the powers of the different Shikigami that he has. So that would be the cameras that I would have to pick for him. Can you not change the drive mode on the picture in the FX30? I think it has like one option on it. I truthfully don't take photos on the FX30 very much. Like I've done a couple photo shoots and I've just been single shooting, but it takes like timer photos and like single shot. That's pretty much it. I use a Panasonic G85 drill. I have actually never used one. Reach. Yeah, no, I will. Hang on. That Jiu-Jitsu question was Faz Itadori. No, I compare rolling shutter. No, okay, so here's my thing. I could side with you on Itadori being an Ari camera, but when you think about like how he fights in Jujutsu Kaisen, it has to be something with rolling with global shutter. Because there's no way you're getting these hands and you're not like the rolling shutter. You can't have rolling shutter and be handing out hands like he does. Also, Adrian, have you caught up to the manga? Because it's finally getting a little bit live right now. How much would you recommend Jujutsu Kaisen? Haven't watched it yet. I would recommend it as hello there. I would recommend it as top 3 manga right now. Yeah, top 3 manga right now, although I'm only reading JJK and My Hero. I'm waiting for the rest of the Bleach Hell arc. I just finished Blood War, so I'm like kind of waiting for that to come out. But yeah, I would say like right now, I would say JJK, My Hero. I think One Piece. I totally forgot about One Piece. One Piece is still coming out on a regular basis too. So I have the Red Komodo. Should I sell it for the X because I probably get 5K out of it, so I wouldn't have to drop a 5K. Is it worth it? The only if you have $5,000, then I would get it. If I don't think your life isn't going to change $5,000 immediately. I find that the Komodo, like when I had the Red Komodo for about a month or so, there was things I didn't like about it, and I kind of put that in a video. So I'm going to turn this little aperture down. There's things I didn't like it, but honestly, if you've been doing just fine on the regular Komodo, I just keep it, man. Especially if you have a sound guy with you and stuff like that. Like, especially if you have the workarounds for the original Komodo, I don't see a point in spending extra $5,000 getting a new one. That's just like my 2 cents. Also, I think they're still updating it too, so I don't think you're losing too much software wise too. Yeah, I would say top 3. Ooh, I forgot about Boruto because Boruto's actually good now. Okay, Giovanni, you're right. Okay, I'm switching up. Jujutsu Kaisen, 2 Blue Vortex, Boruto, and then My Hero Academia, because now Boruto is just a gangster for no reason, on some like weird Kang shit, being like, yo, code. I told you not to come near here because I was gonna bust your ass. Now I have to bust your ass, and I'm gonna move on with the day. And he's doing it. So he's doing really well. The manga's doing really well. Hang on a second. What puts do you, oh, I'm assuming he says, what LUTs do you use for S-Log3 for the FX30? Looking for more info why it's important to use a LUT converter. So essentially what ends up happening with like LUT foot or log footage is when you have like a log image, it's going to look like gray, desaturated, and grayscale and stuff like that. Like explaining what log is kind of lengthy, but essentially what you have to do is you have to bring, oh, my battery just died.